we didn't know how else to be. We all we could do is be ourselves. But ourselves is not like, doesn't make for a good punk rock band. I mean, if you think about it. So I think that's one of the biggest risks, especially at that time. All the bands are like, Reagan sucks or whatever. And we're like, I just want to write a song about, going to Wiener Schnitzel, or I just want to, write a song about my girlfriend, or, all these like non-punk subjects. And I feel like there's a risk in that. And I think the risk was we were risking to just to basically put our own personalities out there and not be someone we weren't.
Yeah, it's like, Reagan does suck, but fuck, everybody already knows that. So now what are we going to talk about?
Right, now yeah. So I kind of feel like that was the risk going into it was that we were just going to bank on that just by being ourselves. Somehow that was going to, show through as something unique or as something that people wanted to hear. And I guess it was a risk that paid off, because I kind of feel like, it comes across more genuine if you just kind of putting your own personality out there, even though your own personality is like nerdy or out, normal, either normal or nerdy, or just not fitting that punk, that punk peg, basically. So that to me was a risk, and I probably didn't even realize I was risking that at the time, but it's just, in retrospect, it's like maybe it would have been a lot easier just to kind of put on the studs and the all the leather and play a persona or something.
Personally, I think that people give us much more credit than we deserve for even knowing what we were doing. We lived in our own little bubble. Again, I'm speaking from my perspective. Well, we kind of lived in our own little bubble, and it's like, well, these are the songs we have, so these are what the album is going to be. We didn't really have a strategy or a mission statement or anything. There weren't do's and don'ts. It was just, okay, these are the songs we have. These are the ones that we kick the most butt on, so these are going to go on the record. It was a lot more simplistic. You got to remember, we were very, very young. And I think that again, really speaking for myself, I was extremely naive for my age. And so we're talking about a lot of just youthful innocence and youthful ignorance. Hey, I'm Bill Stevenson.
I'm Milo Aukerman, and we're two members of the Descendents, and we're going to be talking about the oral history of Milo Goes To College. I think we all shared a kind of an Outcast mentality. Bill and I were in high school together, and we both kind of had that. Frank as well.
He was 1 year ahead of us, but same high school.
Same high school.
And Tony had gone to Maricosta years prior.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So I think a combination of the Outcast part, but also the nerd part, because I think Tony and I, we were both kind of nerds. I mean, I was a nerd coming into it, and then I think Tony kind of embraced the same thing. Lyrically, what we could really rally around as a foursome, just like, yeah, stick it to the jocks or whatever, I mean, I didn't write very many of the lyrics. I just embraced them wholeheartedly because they kind of spoke to me as being an Outcast as well. And so then when I'm singing, I'm just like really putting my oomph behind them, because of the fact that, I identified with the same struggles that these chaps were undergoing.
I was talking to Tony on the phone just yesterday, and I told him flat out, it's like, you guys were the only friends I had then. I didn't have any other friends or no girls or anything, and it was just like our little club that we had, just not even talking about the music, just that was my world. It meant everything to me, and I don't think we really even knew what the outside world was going to make of our lyrics, what they were going to think of them, how we never really thought anyone would hear our band other than just a few of our buddies and that kind of thing. So it's just crazy how it all worked out.
In high school, of course, people go to parties and, go to the beach and whatever. Our whole social kind of enterprise was basically
practice.
Practice. So we practiced a lot because that was how we actually socialized, you know, and that again, it speaks to like we were like the Four Musketeers basically, just and I think the bond started from that moment for the band, is to kind of just continue through the years.
We lived pretty much on the beach, you know, Hermosa Beach, Manhattan Beach, California. That's a pleasant life to be able to go swimming, surfing, fishing all the time. But at the high school itself, I personally didn't get on with the kind of rich, preppy types with the what do you call those boat shoes, Milo? You know, like Huntley Kastner had.
The topsiders, uniforms, the Sperry topsiders and the alligator shirt, the lacrosse. Alligator shirt.
Just the cheerleaders and all that stuff. Like it just, you know, there was no place for us there.
There was a fashion sense in the band, but it was really a fashion sense born out of like fishing. So like
there was a while where everyone was wearing those jumpsuits because we would wear those fishing. I called it a cloth. CLOTH, a cloth.
You know how pants and shirts normally go separate, but this is like pants fused to shirt.
It was a cloth.
But they would go fishing and get those clothes covered with fish guts, and then they'd come to practice, you know, stinking like fish, or go to school. We either were just dressed like normal schmoes, or we were wearing fishing gear. And I think, you know, at that point in LA, you know, the English punk had kind of come in, and it become like a fashion scene at that point. The good thing about it is that we actually were from the South Bay, and actually in the South Bay, you had a lot of bands that were just like, screw that.
Those kind of clothes cost a lot of money. I mean, that's like, you have to go out of your way to do that. And my dad worked 2 full-time jobs my whole childhood because we were poor, you know, we didn't have any money. So my clothes came from like Kmart or the thrift store.
It was Bill's idea to call it Milo Goes to College. It wasn't mine.
It was Frank's. Every good idea was Frank's. Once I resigned myself to that, the world got a lot easier. It was Frank's idea. I mean, you told me you were secretly harboring wishes to sing, but it was Frank at the Stinger studio in Long Beach that said, fuck this, I don't want to sing anymore. Milo, you sing. Because Milo was just there hanging out. And Milo told me that he secretly had wanted to sing, but he never asked us. And Frank and Tony were real tired of singing their own songs. And it was Frank that just said it. It was just in the middle of practice. He just goes, no, fuck this, you sing, Milo.
Well, my first attempt at singing for you guys was actually at the church, because I went to go watch you guys practice at the church in Hermosa. I had just bought the Ride the Wild Hectic World single, and of course it became my favorite record. And then when they were getting ready to play it, I could see it on the set list on the wall, and I noticed that there was no one in front of the mic. I said, hey, I'll go sing that, because I maybe I can do this. So that was at the church. And then, that's
cool. I don't remember that. That's so cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and you know, at the time.
Hey, when did you join the band even?
So this would have been 1980.
Well, the Stinger studio is when I remember you actually got up and sung the whole practice.
So I think we're talking about 1980, maybe early 1980. I went to go see you practice at the church. And then you guys started going down to Long Beach, and you know, for whatever reason, I thought, oh yeah, I'll go watch you guys practice in Long Beach, and of course, I'd see you guys play at the Cuckoo's Nest and all that. And then that's when. So then Frank says, yeah, I don't want to sing anymore. So
I would give Milo a ride to practice every day, just because he just wanted to be there. But I mean, I guess an idiot could have known that maybe he wanted to sing, but I didn't. He was too shy to ask us, and we were too stupid to realize it. But Frank, I think, probably figured it out. Yeah. On Milo Goes to College, the oldest 2 songs are Parents and Statue of Liberty. Those come from like the old original batch of our songs. Like our first 16, 17 songs, those were from that original batch. And most of those didn't end up on Milo Goes to College. It's kind of like we had our whole first album worth of songs, but by the time we learned how to play well enough and figured out how to record and that sort of thing, we had gotten sick of all those and moved on to newer songs. But Parents and Statue were from the old guard, both written by Frank. Some of the songs Frank wrote for Descendents, they go back all the way to like 76, maybe he wrote them. I don't think 75, but 76 certainly.
I'd only met Frank. I hadn't really met him in school. I probably met him more through the band. And so it provided me with insight into his kind of bitterness towards all things. And so I kind of thought, yeah, that's what I would expect Frank to write. You know, I mean, he kind of had this overarching, just a chip on his shoulder.
Rainbow of bitter resentment.
Yeah, that. Yeah. But it's fun to sing it because it is so kind of like, naked rage kind of in that song. I remember when my dad first heard it, he was like, "Why are you so pissed off at me?" I had to explain that Frank wrote it, but.
I felt that way at the time, and it sure did feel good to say something that you weren't supposed to say. You know what I mean?
Bill's first song that he ever wrote was Myage, so that was maybe in the second wave.
I wrote that one maybe after we had been together for about 10 months or something. Myage and Bikeage, and then Suburban Home came in pretty early on. Suburban Home, I just loved it so much. We wanted to be the Alley Cats so bad. I know there's a few different Alley Cats, but I mean the real one from the late 70s punk scene. And we wanted to just have those driving. We just wanted to have that great driving sound. And then Tony, the sarcasm with that song, it's kind of,
not everyone knows. Does everyone know? Does everyone know that it's sarcastic? People don't quite realize that Tony, he's saying, I don't want to end up just squatting in some hippie pad like my parents did. I guess he lived through some of the hippie generation and that kind of thing. He's a little older than us. And he's like more saying, no, I don't want to be a hippie. I want to like have a decent place to hang my head at night and this sort of thing. So the song kind of hits both ways. It's making fun of, suburbanites, but it's also making fun of people that think they can just kind of squat their way through life. I remember when I first heard it, Tony sing it or whatever. And I thought, so it's I don't want to be stereotyped, or I want to be stereotyped, and Tony's like, no. I want to be stereotyped. I want to be classified, and that's why he says that thing at the start, because he's like, he has to put the emphasis on I want that. Whereas, a normal punk thing would be like, I don't want to be stereotyped. He wants that. I think, and we were like, oh yeah, that makes
Tony
sense.
Tony doesn't actually want those things, but what he's doing is he's juxtaposing what would be considered maybe the common punk point of view against his point of view, where he grew up amidst hippies, and he's like, nope, don't want this.
But then he got a suburban home very shortly after that.
Then he got a home. He got a house. Yeah, he got a house.
Tony, he was a mailman, and he spent a lot of time walking through suburbia. And I kind of felt like he was saying, hey, this is perfectly legit to do this thing. Now, but he's also poking fun. He's saying it's legit, but also poking fun at what comes along, the trappings that come along with having that suburban home. Like, I want to be a clone. Well, he doesn't really want to be a clone, but I think he was just basically, yeah, it's kind of a reaction against the anti-suburbia kind of thing that was going on in punk or whatever. So I mean, that's my feeling about it.
Well, I think it's great that it kind of displays both sides of the argument.
Right.
Hope was maybe the last song added for the record, right?
Yeah, Hope was the last, along with like something like M16, which is obviously, I came in so late to the whole thing. that all these songs have been written. So then Tony had said, dude, you should write a song. And I said, I don't know how to write a song. He said, oh, look, write me a lyric, bring it into practice, and I'll write the music. So that was M16, where I basically didn't know what the hell I was doing, but I figured I could write a lyric. When I started getting into punk rock, I had written I had written some really, really crappy songs, not for a band, just because I was figured, well, I'm going to try to write a song. Like, I learned how to play guitar yesterday, so today I'm going to write a song. And I did write like songs, like we had a song about Santa Cruz, which was really bad. And then I had a song called Monoxide Suicide, which is really bad. And then so I would write these really crappy songs with my friends, and I never even showed them to the band. They were that bad. Just like, I'm not even going to show this to the band. So yeah, but M16 was the first one where I said, well, okay, I'll write a song for this band, basically. And then Hope would have been the second. I can say her name because she knows it's about her. It's Carolyn Sant, my girlfriend in high school. And yeah, I mean, so, you know, it's like all of our songs, they just basically recount, you know, things that have happened to us. And Bill always would say, we don't really have enough imagination to write imaginary songs.
Well, I certainly never did. Yeah. I wrote one song in my life that was kind of fictitious, but it was from a dream I had. So, you know, the dream seemed real to me. Sometimes when you wake up and the dream really seems real, that was Gene is Dead. There's no person named Gene. I just I dreamed that whole thing happened, and so I wrote a song about it. Cool. But yeah, I'm no poet. I write about shit that happens to me.
Yeah. So the thing about Hope was that, the way that song got written is that I had the music first, and then I brought the music in and showed it to Bill, and he goes, wow, it's like the song that inspires hope. And so that's where the title came from, because he said, oh, it's the song that inspires hope. So then I had to write a lyric, and I decided that it would be about Carolyn. And so it's her boyfriend was coming back from the military, actually. Her ex-boyfriend was coming back from the military, and she's like, I'm going to get back with him because, you know, he's got the spark or whatever. And I guess I didn't have the spark. And so that's where that line comes from. So yeah, it's just that kind of dealing with that, and I guess hoping that I can win out in the end somehow. You know, when I joined the band, I'd been listening to Ride the Wild, Detective World, which is my favorite record of that period. And so then I go to watch them practice, and they have all these other great songs. And so I was kind of intimidated and that's why when Tony asked me about, hey, write a song, I was like, why bother? Because it's just not gonna, you know, be as good. But you know, I definitely was, and you know, I've never been a prolific songwriter, so I only have 2 songs on that record. But you know, it's something that it's always. I guess I'm still intimidated, even now, bringing songs to the rest of the band, because you know, no matter what,
your kill rate is so high. I mean, Hope's one of the best songs on Milo Goes to College. Get the Time is the best song on Enjoy, you know, so you're doing good.
Yeah, it's just always a challenge, because it's like I'm going up against, you know, Stevenson and
Rotting Out is my favorite song on Everything Sucks.
Myage was Bill's first song, so there's that.
I have a good story about that. Is that okay? Not long after I got my drum set, my mom gave me my grandpa's old acoustic guitar. And then not long after I got the acoustic guitar, I was taking the trash can out to the curb. You can't make this up. I was taking my trash can out to the curb on trash day, and my neighbor had an instrument sticking out of the trash can. And I went and I pulled it out of the trash can, and it was a bass. It was a semi-hollow body bass. So you could still hear it even though it's not plugged in, because I didn't have an amp. So Myage and Bikeage and Gene is Dead, I wrote on that harmony acoustic guitar that was my grandpa's, and then this hollow body bass that I dug out of the trash is what I wrote the
Hopefully it had enough strings.
It only had two, but I put a third one on.
Yeah. You put a third one on, but didn't decide you didn't need a fourth. Like
no, Myage has no, that's right. I had to put new ones on because Myage uses all four strings because it goes that's up on the G string. Yeah, no, you're right, Milo. I had to at some point put that final string on there. And then Bikeage too. On that bass I dug out of the trash. You know, there was a girl that didn't like me and I liked her. Kind of what all our songs are about. Yeah.
The first version was about your dad though, right? Take out the trash, Bill.
No, Tony just would say that when this was in the period when we really didn't want to sing. We wanted to have a singer when Frank and Tony didn't want to sing and play because I think the material was getting complicated enough to where it was hard for them to play it and sing it at the same time. And so Tony would just go on the na 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 on that part. He'd go, take the trash out, take it out, Bill, like as if he was my father. Oh, but that's weird because then that's where I dug the bass out of the trash.
Bikeage was originally about a bike, so that's why it's called Bikeage.
I don't know. Yeah, sometimes our nicknames wouldn't have much to do with the thing. Like Myage just meant it was an abbreviation for my song, because I only had one song, and so let's play my song. I mean, let's play Myage. Like the way we used to say "age" for things. Like if you'd say, "Do you want to go get something to eat?" we would just go "foodage," you know, that kind of thing.
This record came out, and I was already at school, and I was just kind of like a nobody then, a nobody at school. And I never really felt like it hit any kind of a zeitgeist or anything like that till many, many, many years later. I was committed to school. I mean, I just started, I was like, freshman year. And I for some reason I couldn't get into the dorm. So I was living off campus. So it's like ultra isolated, like not even with my cohort, and basically living in a room in someone's house. And there were a couple of brothers that and a mom that lived there too. So one of the brothers came up to me, this is after I've been living there for a few months, and said, "Hey, my buddy down the street just got your record." And I was like, "Oh, what?" "Oh, it finally came out." Like I had no idea. Like I didn't know what the release date was. I didn't have a physical copy of it myself. So he said, "You mean you don't have it?" I go, "No." And he goes, "Well, come on over to my buddy's house, and we're gonna spin that mother." So I go over to this guy's friend's house, and that's when I first heard the vinyl version of this. I mean, I was so out of the loop at that point because I was down, putting on the blinders, trying to get my schoolwork done. So I had to go to some other house where they were spinning it, and then it must have been very strange for them because, I mean, because then I was just like, totally doing this on it, like listening. And they're like, "You mean you haven't heard this before?" And so that was me like listening and like critiquing myself, like I'm critiquing.
Yeah, but you had the cassette.
What's that?
But you had the cassette, of course.
No, I didn't. I didn't have the cassette. I had nothing like that. I mean,
me and Carolyn had one because we listened to it remember me and her were ride sharing to El Camino.
Yeah, you guys would listen to a cassette.
We had a cassette. You didn't have a cassette?
I did not have a cassette.
Harsh.
But the thing is
when that happens.
I know, but you'd think I would have said, "Hey, Bill, can you rip me a copy of this? Or you make a copy of this for me?" But I was so like, "See you later. I'm going off to college," that I just kind of like, it's almost like, this.
Oh yeah.
And so then, but then when I heard it at this friend's house, I was really like, "Whoa, okay. I guess it turned out pretty cool."
Well, I do kick ass, don't I?
Yeah. But I mean, that was just a bizarre thing to have to, go to a friend's house, a friend of my roommate's house, to hear it for the first time, and and that was one of those things that, like we talk about the impact that it had, and I felt like it didn't really have an impact. Although I did know that one person bought my record at that point, and so I was like, okay, someone bought it. That's cool.
We played in 2010, kind of right after my brain surgery, and we played that first show. We hadn't played in 8 years or so. We played that Fun Fest in Austin, and I just remember we went up there, and I looked out there, and there was like, it might as well have been 10 million people to me. It was just, I just kind of was like, whoa. And then I remember when we finished the first song, Milo kind of looked back at me, and I went, what happened? What happened? What is all this? I will remember just the camaraderie, which usually took place in these sweaty, tiny rooms that we would put carpet and mattresses on the walls so nobody would call the cops. The camaraderie, the little bickering and arguing about how things should go, and just kind of us against the world, like the Little Rascals, our own little club. And that's really what I'll remember about it. And those are my fond memories, are of the camaraderie.
I mean, I'll remember being able to bike from my house and just ride my bike over to record, like, oh, I'm going to go ride my bike. And, and then we just hit record and we'd go, just to having it be.
Wait, you froze up, or I froze up, or?
You froze up. You're frozen.
I can't hear you guys.
Okay. Bill's frozen, but I'll keep going. And I remember Spot. Are you back?
I'm back now. You said you could ride your bike to record.
Yeah, that's it. And then
wait. When do you mean that?
Well, like Total Access was in Redondo Beach.
Oh.
Yeah. Total Access.
Oh, right. Total Access. I'm sorry. I wasn't. For some reason, I forgot about Total Access. I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Right off of 190th. So I would just ride my bike over there, and then I also remember, hanging with Spot, because I mean he was kind of a big name in kind of South Bay, punk in terms of recording and stuff, and so I got to hang with Spot. He's just a real cool guy. And then the third thing I remember is writing the final lyric for Hope, kind of after, like right before I sang it, like I got to go and sing Hope, and I got one last lyric to write. And so it's kind of, most of the songs were done way beforehand, but Hope was like up to the last minute, I'm writing some lyric for it.
Yeah, so. Because it was the B bridge was, you didn't have lyrics for the B bridge. Right.
Okay.
You had lyrics for the first bridge that, that starts in G, or, call me selfish, call me. You had lyrics for that part, but you didn't have it for the final part. Now you want perfection, because that practice, you would always just go, ah.
Oh, okay.
Okay. You never had lyrics for that part.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that's a coda. That was my first coda, I think. It's a coda. Or is it a B bridge? I don't know.
I call it a B bridge because you don't repeat anything that encapsulates the whole song. So I call it a B section of the bridge.
Okay.
But you could call it a coda.
Anyways, I don't know. I don't think I have anything to say about legacy or anything like that. I really don't know what to think about that. I mean, we're eternally grateful that people still care, and so a lot of this thing, like we was talking about the show back in 2010, and I think we were just after the show, I was just like, what's going on here?
What just happened?
What just happened? People still care, and I mean, I think Laurel was with us at the after show dinner we had, and she said, "What is this all? What is this? Why is this?"
When we went to the Magnolia.
Yeah, and I said, well, "Why is this happening?" And she goes, "Well, you guys wrote some good songs, and so I guess that's the legacy. Is we wrote some good songs,
It sure was great to just be part of that world, to be in LA in 78, 79, 80, to be there, to be able to just pile in the car and go up and pay $5. You could see X, the Bags, the Go-Go's, the Germs, all in one show for $5. It was magic. I mean, I feel like we were lucky and fortunate in that respect. It was just everywhere we look, it was just on fire, and it was so exciting, and it just energized all of us so much. It gave me a kind of an energy boost that I've never had an experience like that in my life.
I've had people say, that these songs mean something more than just the average song, or like with Hope or whatever. I mean, it's obviously incredibly flattering, and very grateful for all that. But yeah, so I don't know what to say about that other than that, you know, I think like it comes back to the start of this whole thing where we're talking about just being yourself. And I think if people were willing to just be themselves and write from that perspective, write songs from the perspective of just being honest with yourself and with others and not put on any kind of like a front or anything, you can write songs. And I guess that's maybe the kind of songs that people can identify with. And because it's just, they're songs about just growing up and I don't think I was, you know, I don't think we were sitting there going, I want to write the song that's going to be this universal paean to adolescence. But the thing is we just wrote about what we were going through, and that's I guess that's enough for someone else to be able to identify with it, basically.